I mean, you don't even know. You don't even know how much I suck at writing titles for my videos. Or maybe you do know that, because on Friday, I said that Arsenal would beat Liverpool. But I added the maybe part in parentheses to save my ass just in case, and Arsenal did the exact opposite of beating Liverpool. They laid down and they offered nothing. And if I was an Arsenal supporter, I'd be like, Granit Xhaka has been directly responsible for 3 goals in 3 straight games with his carelessness with the ball. The dude is overrated. I'm finally gonna admit it. And our back line is a mess. I mean, we signed, according to the Bundesliga team of the season, the best left wing back in Germany. So why is it that right-footed Hector Bellerin, who looks like a shell of who he was in 2015, plays left wing back over Kolasinac, and Oxlade-Chamberlain is playing right wing back? Rob Holding needs to be off the field and out of the firing line, but how can he be when we've sold Gabriel and are rumored to sell Mustafi to Inter Milan and aren't planning on replacing them? I mean, bring on Chambers. Sounds amazing. And speaking of the Ox, did you see his effort on Sadio Mane's goal, or should I say lack of effort? So I'm glad he's signing for Chelsea, and I hope they send him out on loan like they do with everyone else, because he's not good enough to get into their first team, you traitor. Also, we have no leaders on the field. Our biggest leader, Per Mertesacker, who really is a big giant leader, isn't even trusted to play in a game against Stoke City. However, Alexis Sanchez is back. Woohoo! But he's already playing like he's playing for himself and not the team. So he's probably going to Manchester City. I mean, just look at all those smirks on the sideline. It says it all. And then what about Mesut Ozil? He just needs to find the ball and not give it away carelessly in big games. It's like he can't be bothered out there. And finally, the last thing I want to say is Wenger out. We were overwhelmed in every area of the field. Players are playing out of position. And then when Wenger makes substitutions, he puts his new record signing Alexander Lacazette, who should have started the game first and foremost. But when he brings him in, he puts him out wide instead of his best position as the striker. So I don't know what else to say other than this is a goddamn fucking mess. And yes, the players deserve blame for having no spine when the game got tough, or to show any effort to get back into the game when they were down. And Wenger deserves blame for not having his team properly prepared. So I say sell Sanchez, sell Ozil, sell Mustafi at this point. Let him go with Ox. Go grab some younger players, bring Thomas Tuchel in, and start this fucking shit over, because it's only gonna get worse before it gets better, which is what happened to Manchester United after Sir Alex Ferguson left. So start that process now. Let's not wait as Arsenal supporters until Wenger's contract is up to start it instead. But you all know that Wenger's not gonna leave. It's so obvious that he has a stranglehold on the club, and I emphasize stranglehold, and I emphasize club, because his powers go beyond the pitch. He makes the decisions, and he decided to stay for 2 more seasons for whatever reason. He's a stubborn son of a bitch, so he will not leave, and the club won't sack him, and f his legacy. The guy has to go now, but he won't. Okay, enough of those babies. Is my team so bad? Let's talk about Liverpool. It was a tremendous performance by a team at the top of its game, and that was without their best player, Coutinho. So the question is, where does the little Brazilian fit in when he comes back into the team, if he comes back? And I think that's a big if at this point, because I heard he's leaving. I mean, who do you take out though? Let's say hypothetically. Would it be Mane? No. Salah? No. Emre Can? No. Wijnaldum? No. So what's crazy is I'd probably take out their captain Jordan Henderson before any of those other guys based on current form. You could drop Emre Can there and put Coutinho a little bit higher, but Jordan Henderson's a really good leader. This is a really good problem though for the Reds to have. So I'm not really worried about them. They've had a great week. They just signed RB Leipzig's Naby Keita starting next summer. So things are on the up and up in Liverpool. Staying in England, my Newcastle not only scored their first goals of the season, they actually won a game. Admittedly, it was against a poor team named West Ham that my good mates over in the UK, Spencer Seb, Saunders, and Steve support. So it must be heartbreaking for them to know that West Ham manager Slaven Bilic is probably gonna get fired if they lose one more game, maybe? Maybe they fire him now, or maybe those guys aren't heartbroken about the possibility of Bilic being fired. I don't know. I mean, I like Bilic. I think he's a good manager. It's just sometimes you wear out your welcome and the players don't respond to you anymore, and that's gotta hurt. Then there was Spurs, who did a bottle job by conceding a 92nd minute equalizer against Burnley and failed to pick up the 3 points. And seriously, Spurs, why was your line so high defensively that late in the game with the other team desperately in search of a goal? I just can't understand it. It's okay to park the bus sometimes when you're up 1-0 with no time left. It's okay. And then title contenders Manchester United and Chelsea both put together very professional performances in their respective 2-0 wins over Leicester and Everton, respectively. And I should change that because they both dominated their opponents And for United in particular, they look like the United of old, you know, when it was clear that they expected to win every single game. And that's what they look like now, and I think that's the biggest compliment that I can give this current squad of United players. Though, I made Romelu Lukaku my captain for the Warm Ballers Fantasy Premier League this week, and he missed a goddamn penalty. And I also traded out Salah for Pogba, and then Pogba missed a sitter, or might have been a good save, it doesn't really matter. And god damn it, let's check to see if Chow Chow FC is still on top of the fantasy league. And no, Chow Chow dropped 70 spots from the top, while I gained almost 100 spots. So at least I'm heading in the right direction there, Chow Chow. Or maybe I didn't. Where did I finish last week? Maybe I did worse, I'm not really sure. But now we have a new leader in the race to see whose house I'm gonna fly to play a pickup game and some FIFA, which is the best grand prize of all time. And it's the Mild High Club, which is run by Jose Martinez, or Jose Martinez, if he's Portuguese. And let's check his team. His defenders absolutely killed it, especially Antonio Valencia. I mean, did you triple captain him? If so, that is very well played, my man. So we'll see if the next closest contenders, Abraham, Theo, Josh, Alex, Louis, and Corey, can close the gap at the top in 2 weeks when the Premier League comes back. And now let's head to España, or Spain. We're on the heels of Real Madrid failing to win at home in the league without Cristiano Ronaldo for the first time since April 2011, and this weekend's 2-2 draw with Valencia. Though it should be noted that Ronaldo's replacement, Marco Asensio, had both Madrid goals. Barcelona finally had a pretty good weekend as they officially secured Ousmane Dembele. Did I say that right for everybody? Ousmane from Dortmund. They got him from Borussia Dortmund, and they went on top of the table with 4 goals for and 0 against, which is pretty good. And they witnessed their GOAT, Leo Messi, becoming the first player in La Liga history to score 350 goals. Also a shout out to Atletico Madrid, not only for their 5-1 beatdown of Las Palmas on the road, but also for setting a club record for most consecutive away games without a loss, which is currently at 13. And I'm not even sure if manager Eno could pull that off. Though, I mean, let's be honest, probably could. Probably good. But enough about Spain, let's talk some Italian calcio. Specifically Juventus, who won their first game in Serie A, in which they trailed by 2 goals since March 2004. They were losing 2-0 to Genoa this weekend after 7 minutes before Paulo Dybala scored a hat-trick, and John Square scored as well to secure the 4-2 win. Also, Dybala is now tied on top of the scoring charts in Serie A with Mauro Icardi, as Icardi's brace not only gave him 4 goals for the season, but it led Inter Milan to a huge statement-winning result over Roma in Rome 3-1, which leaves Inter tied on top with a few teams like Juve and Napoli, who came back from a goal down and scored 3 very, very good goals. And I'll put all these links in the descriptions. You guys can get caught up on all the highlights. And AC Milan's on top. They have 6 points from 2 games too, but they've had to rely on their 19-year-old academy product, Patrick Cutrone, and one of last season's few bright spots, Suso, who are leading the charge for Milan, and not the players that they spent close to 200 million euros for. And Sampdoria, who also have 6 points after they beat Fiorentina 2-1 on the road. Also a shout out to my recently promoted pick to stay up this season, Spal, for winning their first ever game in Serie A 3-2 in the 93rd minute over Udinese. And Torino's Andrea Bellotti for probably scoring the goal of the season. It is so good, so find that link below. And now let's head to Germany, where Hamburg won again, this time over FC Köln. On the road, no less, 3-1 to give them 2 wins out of 2 games this season. As a comparison, last season, they only won 10 total games out of 34. It's really, really, really cool, and I'm happy for them. And then all the teams that should have won, like Dortmund and Bayern and RB Leipzig. And then Bruma, who just signed with Leipzig from Galatasaray, scored a ridiculous goal on his first ever touch with the club. It is so good and so clean, I'm jealous. And I think it was the best goal of the weekend in Germany, but Nuri Sahin's goal for Dortmund off the half volley was a joke. That was awesome. And then Robert Lewandowski's cheeky back heel, really good. But I'll let you guys figure it out, which one is the best, because it's time to head to France for This Week in Neymar. And in This Week in Neymar, well, he had 0 goals and 0 assists in his 90 minutes for PSG in their 3-0 win over Saint-Etienne. But you know his presence made a difference, which should theoretically open up more space for his teammates, because he's Neymar. And now with Kylian Mbappe reportedly on his way on a loan deal, which makes absolutely no sense for Monaco. Because why? What do they have to gain? Those owners don't need any more money. They own a team in Monaco. But maybe they don't want the distraction. I mean, if that's the case, then yeah, get him out of there. I mean, they did just beat Marseille 6-1 this weekend without him, so they clearly got additional talent that's bigger than Mbappe. And I'm not sure this actually makes sense for Mbappe either, because why would he want to go? He's not going to start regularly. I just don't see where he fits into the lineup. And sitting on the bench is the last thing he should be doing, especially ahead of a World Cup. And how does this make sense for the financial fair play rules? Because, I mean, what's the point of having them in the first place if clubs can find ways to work around the rules? Also, if this happens and Mbappe does go to PSG, Ligue 1 is going to look like a joke. Just like the LA Galaxy, who also looked like a joke after they lost at home to their hated Northern California rivals, the San Jose Earthquakes, in what is called the Cali Clasico 3-0, which is their worst loss ever at home in this derby, and their 9th loss overall in their last 10 MLS games. And it doesn't look like things are going to get better anytime soon, even with the recent addition of Jonathan Dos Santos. Sucks to be you right now, LA. As for the other big rivalry games this week, the NY Derby, also known as the New York Derby, ended 1-1. The Portland Timbers and Seattle Sounders ended 1-1. But Real Salt Lake crushed the Colorado Rapids 4-1 at home in the Rocky Mountain Cup. That was a very good game if you're an RSL fan. And Toronto FC, led by a brace by Sebastian Jovinko, took down the Montreal Impact in Montreal 3-1. And fun fact for you, Toronto is closing in on having the best regular season record in MLS history with 7 games left to go in the regular season. They are 12 points behind the 1998 squad for the LA Galaxy. So we'll see if they can do it. And I think they can. And finally, Porto scored early and held on late to beat Braga 1-0. So nice prediction, Adrian from Rabona TV. And good luck to all the squads in Argentina, but primarily my favorite team there, who happen to be the defending champions. And I wanted to add that in. Boca Juniors, as they start their new season. And in fact, 2 of the games from this opening weekend had 8 goals in them. It was a goal fest. So I get the sense this will make for another entertaining campaign in Argentina, so you guys should probably watch that. And then crappy turns scrappy, Cruz Azul tied Liga MX leaders at Monterrey 1-1, which was a good result overall for Cruz Azul, but it couldn't stop them from dropping down 3 spots to 6th in the table because Tigres, Toluca, and Necaxa all won to leapfrog them. And that must feel pretty shitty if you're Cruz Azul. Like, dude, we just had a good result against the top team in the league, and we got a tie. I was at home, everything was cool, and we still dropped 3 spots. That must suck. Anyway, that is all I got. Thank you for watching, and I'll see your ugly mugs tomorrow. Later.